Christopher Lucas with the Franchising Company, back for another Zor Zoom edition. Today we're going to be talking with Chris from the Exercise Coach. So as you're listening, if you like what you're hearing, feel free to click the link below and check to see if your market is still available. But Chris, thanks for joining us this morning. If you don't mind, just give us a brief introduction and tell us a little bit about Exercise Coach.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jennifer and Matt, for having me. This is exciting. I love talking about the exercise coach. So to be able to share it with more people gets me pretty fired up. So yes, my name's Chris Miles. I'm the director of development for the exercise coach. I reside in sunny Southern California, although it's not very sunny. We just had a really bad rainstorm here, so it's a little wet outside. But for the most part, it's pretty nice. So as far as the exercise coach, we're the world's largest personal training brand that caters to 50 and older. We use proprietary technology for our workouts, and we're one of the first brands that started the shorter workout time frame, 20 minutes. We do twice a week, and we really focus on strength training versus just weight loss. So that's kind of our claim to fame.
Awesome. And so we've been working with you guys for a long time. And so you say cater to 50 and older, but I've seen sort of a switch that it's catering to busy people too,
Yep.
not just that crowd.
That is correct. Yeah. So the original idea for the exercise coach was to cater around the busy professional, the person who doesn't want to spend hours in the gym, doesn't want to have to sit there and fight for machines, because that's really what takes the longest in a workout. Anyways, it's not always the workout, it's waiting in line trying to get on a treadmill or trying to get on a piece of workout equipment. So they really took a lot of that part of the unfun gym environment and narrowed it down to a really efficient workout. So yeah, it's not just for 50 and older, but a lot of our marketing and our kind of core demographics as time has gone on has been a big focus on that 45, 50 and older crowd.
Gotcha. So can you talk a little bit about the technology and how this 20 minutes twice a week is even possible?
Yeah, I definitely can. So when I first heard about it, I'll be honest, I was a big skeptic. I've spent 20 years in the fitness industry. I've owned a couple of gyms personally. I've been around it all the modalities, all the different concepts. This really surprised me because I thought 20 minutes, that goes against everything that I've ever learned. That doesn't make any sense. And then I tried the workout, and then I got to understand the reason why it works and the technology and the science behind it all. And I just became really impressed. So X Robotics it's stationary equipment. So imagine, a regular, chest press machine or rowing machine, things like that, but it's on a major hydraulic system. So there's like a big kind of base to it. And then it also is connected to software. And the software will help the user be able to use the equipment efficiently. Best way I can describe it, and without getting too nerdy and technical on this thing, is it's an isometric style workout. So it's really safe. It's not like free weights. No one's going to drop any weights on their head, but it allows you to use your maximum effort, right? You're going all out, max effort, to failure as safe and efficiently as possible. And so that's kind of the key to the 20-minute workout. It's being able to take someone, regardless of where their fitness level is at, and bring them to their max effort in a very safe way.
No, I mean the whole concept of being able to come in 2 times a week and get a full workout is incredible, because I mean usually that's hours, for
Right.
most people. And so that's just a ton of time back. So for a busy professional, this makes a ton of sense. So talk to us a little bit. I mean, obviously this is a membership model, right? Just like most fitness brands are. Can you just talk to us a little bit about what that looks like?
Yeah, so the exercise coach, it is brick and mortar. There's a lot of different concepts popping up, these mobile concepts. What's really great about the exercise coach is it doesn't require you to be in a very large retail space. I mean, we have a retail model, but we're talking less than 2,000 square feet. And then we also have transitioned into this other model over the last few years where it's a office suite style, like think 10th floor in a medical or office building, and you're not visible to the public. And one of the first responses I get from candidates is, well, how are people going to find my business? Like, don't we rely on walk-in traffic? Thankfully, we don't. We do get some walk-in traffic, but typically we're a destination business. So it's appointment only. They have to have, a session set up with a coach already, or when they're coming in for the first time, they're clicking on an ad. The ad gives them 2 free sessions. The exercise coach team will call them and say, hey, we'd love for you to come in. Let's get to know you. Let's start your evaluation. And then they guide them from there. So very seldom do we get major walk-in traffic, but that has been kind of a big shift in the way consumer behavior has been over the last few years. Is we're tired of the big box, sweaty, loud, noisy gym environment. We want something more intimate, more personalized. Even though it's 20 minutes, it sounds like everything's being rushed. It's actually really taking their time. They know everyone's name. So it kind of sounds like a counterintuitive approach, but it's gone really, really well.
Part of the build out, there's no showers, right? Like no locker rooms, no showers. So that cuts down the initial investment.
Correct. Yeah. So with the build out, and I was really surprised it is for, again, being in the fitness space for so long. I mean, construction can get really out of hand for brick and mortar concepts. And this is something where the exercise coach team wanted to keep it a very simple floor plan. Yeah, you don't have a ton of plumbing. You don't have to have special theater equipment. You have these studios with the microphones. They got all the crazy laser lights and audio equipment. This is not that. So it doesn't require a ton of work. And really, I mean, if you're in that suite model, you don't even have to worry about plumbing for a bathroom. You're sharing a bathroom a lot of times, on the same floor as the rest of the tenants in the building.
So how about employees or coaches or trainers? How many and what kind of level of education and do they need, what kind of history? Do they need to have a fitness history, or tell us about the employees?
No, absolutely. So they do not need to have fitness experience. So one of my favorite things about the exercise coach, you don't have to have the most robustly experienced trainers. Usually in fitness, you want people with tons of certifications, experience, maybe a exercise science degree, kinesiology degree, something along those lines. You can have those things. You definitely can hire those employees, but the core model of the exercise coach is you can take people who have the soft skills, the people skills. We want people who can get along and motivate other people and have a passion for fitness, even if they don't have the exact experience. So we do an in-house certification, mainly because they probably have never seen exerbotics themselves either. So them having experience of it outside of exercise coach would be virtually impossible. And so we do a big training on that. We do a big training on how to go through the evaluation process, which is also something that I found really unique about the exercise coach. It's not just like a simple questionnaire and they're just reading off. They're really trying to understand where they're at in their fitness journey right now and where they'd like to go. And then they try and bring some education, some knowledge, and, really figure it out together. Hey, how are we going to get from where you're at now to where you want to be in 6 months, a year, whatever their goal might be? And it always ties around something that is not a number. In fitness, it's like, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to do this by my anniversary or my, high school reunion or whatever it might be. The exercise coach clients, it's always completely different. It's like, I want to be able to pick up my grandkids again. I want to be able to golf an entire round and not have to take a break every 30 seconds. So those are things that we're giving people their quality of life back. And that's just something that's so powerful and we're really, really passionate about.
I love that. What kind of support does the exercise coach give new owners with a pre-sale program for the memberships? And then also what kind of retention do these members have?
No, I love this. So I'll start with the pre-launch support. So the guy who heads that, Paul Broder, is absolutely amazing. He is so dedicated to the franchisees the second that they become part of the system. The minute they sign their franchise agreement, he's emailing, texting, saying, hey, let's get started. And what they do, it's all a documented process. It starts with them helping with the real estate selection process. One of the biggest missing pieces of franchising that I had seen in my career was that when a franchisee comes on board, they're given a handbook, you have your initial meetings, your owner training, all this stuff. But then it's like, okay, what makes a good real estate selection? What should I be looking for? What should I be looking out for? And while they'll get some tips, I didn't see too many times where they would really get in the weeds with the client. And I'm speaking on the franchisor. What the exercise coach does is they'll not only make sure that you can find the right real estate, they'll also help negotiate the lease for the franchisee to make sure that they're not signing a bad lease. I hate to use this as an example. A competitor that I worked for in the past, I was on the support side. A franchisee had signed a lease that was like 10 times more than the market average. They had no idea. This was in like the Bay Area, and rent can be high in San Francisco area. I mean, I get that, but for a retail space of 1,500 square feet to be over $20,000 a month, I couldn't even believe that. And there was no guidance for that franchisee. She signed it, wanted this space because of the foot traffic, because how busy this shopping center was. But the me on the support side, once she got to me, I thought, we're going to have a tough time really chasing this rent. And so that's when I really thought there has to be a better way. And so the exercise coach thought long and hard about that way ahead of time. And that's always been their process. They've always had a chance to, hey, let's take a look at the lease you're about to sign. Let's make sure it's actually manageable for the business. And so that's a huge, huge plus. So once that happens, then they start the construction process. And same thing, they want to look at bids. They don't want to just blindly hand you off to a general contractor. So they look at bids, they look and see, okay, let's look at 5 or 6. These are all about the same. Let's pick the best one, and then they talk to them, they manage the project. And that's also really neat. They're emailing on the phone, making sure that the contractor's staying on time and more importantly, on budget as well. And so that really leads into then starting the training and developing of understanding the extrabotics equipment. They start building it out. They deliver it. At this time, we're about 6 months in, probably about this point, maybe 4 or 5 months. They are hiring their first employees, and then they go into owner training. So a lot of franchise concepts usually do the owner training right after someone signs their franchise agreement. Well, that's great. Most of the time we see people forget things and they go into their opening with a whole list of notes, but they go, I don't know how to use this. I didn't write this down. What do I do? So we want the information as fresh as possible. Owner training is typically done about 2 to 3 weeks before opening. And then you have a dedicated person helping you every step of the way through your grand opening. So.
So but tell me again about the pre-sale program.
Oh yeah, so there isn't a pre-sale process. So thank you for reminding me. So there isn't a pre-sale process. Again, they looked at what was really efficient and what made a lot of sense. While pre-sale programs for some companies do extremely well, they had experimented with some ideas on pre-sale. It didn't go too well, and a lot of times franchisees are having to come out of pocket for employees without generating revenue. We just felt like that wasn't the most efficient way to be successful. And so we've really focused now on making sure that we're setting up the grand opening for success. And so what that means is we'll typically turn on marketing about a month before the studio opens. We're generating as many leads as we can. They go into what we call the initial consultations. We're trying to book out the coach's calendar for the first 2.5 weeks. So we want them completely full. So, and the numbers can range as far as how many appointments that would be, but the main focus would be to try and sell between 35 and 45 memberships within the first 2 weeks. And then after that, we'd like to grow at a pace of around 35 to 45 memberships. And so while there's not a pre-sale process, that might sound like a drawback to some people. They're like, wait a minute, I'm not going to sign up members before I open. What about my revenue? A lot of the times when we're in that negotiation process on the lease and everything, we're trying to make sure we have a lot of runway before we open. And then that way we can open efficiently and not having to pay out a bunch of expenses before we've started generating revenue.
And what is the total investment? I don't know that we got a number on that.
Total investment is between $235,000 and $260,000 is typically the average range. It can be as high as a little over 300. That's if you're going a little bit above and beyond. the equipment package, we have a dedicated equipment package. It's under $100,000 all in for all the equipment you need to open. But some people want to have additional just because of maybe the spacing or whatever it might be. But it's typically recommended to stay with the regular amount. So between 230 and 260,000.
Considerably lower than
Yeah.
most fitness concepts for sure.
And how many pieces of equipment is that? How many of those, the actual machines?
Yep. So you get 8 pieces of equipment. So you get 4 of the exerbotics equipment. So it's usually going to be a chest, back, shoulders, what is it? It's like a press, and then you'll get a leg press, and then there's a nucleus machine that does like core work and a back extension, and then the rest of it isn't exerbotics, but it is a complement to the exerbotics. So there's like a multi-trainer, like a cable machine, and then you have several pieces, selectorized hip abductor adduction machine, and then you have a few pieces of cardio equipment. Now I will say the cardio equipment surprises people because they go, "Oh, cardio, that's the easy part, right?" It's typically everyone's least favorite part of the workout. So it's a little bit higher intensity. They have 2 different pieces of equipment that are extremely efficient at what we call simulating a sprint. And so that's the idea of the cardio. Most people, when they do cardio, you're thinking, I'm going to walk or jog on a treadmill, I'm going to use a bike, and you're going at a moderate intensity. Well, because we only have 20 minutes, we don't have the ability to just do a moderate intensity. We kind of have to do interval training. And so that's where either the sci-fit bike, so think of a hand leg bike at the same time, that's torture device number 1. And then we've got what they call the 360 trainer. So imagine these skiing sticks on hydraulics. And that is by far the most interesting and most challenging cardio I've ever done. And so 5 minutes on that is equivalent to doing 45 minutes on a treadmill.
I will tell you, we have a friend who is a former D1 colleague or athlete, I'm sorry, and she said that this was the best workout that she's had since she was in college. So that says a lot, I think.
Agreed.
I don't doubt that. It's like I tapped out after about 2.5 minutes. I thought people do this for 5 minutes, and they go, "Yeah, come on, people, 20 years older, 30 years older than you are doing this for 5 minutes." Like I go, "They're my hero then, because this is not easy at all."
And you do allow for semi-passive ownership to start, general manager in place day 1 kind of thing. Okay.
Yep. Yes.
And then where are your target markets? Where are you really hoping to grow to?
So there's a few areas. I mean, the West Coast in general is still fairly wide open. Southern California, and I'm talking all of Southern California, Orange County, LA with the fires, we've had some candidates face some challenges. Unfortunately we had some that lost their homes. And so obviously that's been putting things on pause and trying to rebuild. And, one of the things that I did was, hey, we're not going to remove you from consideration. We're just going to put things on pause. When life gets back to normal, we'll absolutely hold our conversation with you guys. And a lot of people are still very excited about the idea of opening their business, even though they're facing these challenges. And so, it's been a mixed bag for us, but California in general is still very wide open. We've got Northern California that has a ton of territory left. And then Portland, Oregon is wide open. There's, I think, maybe 12 or 15 locations we've mapped out in that area as well. On the East Coast, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Florida is not sold out. That's a big misconception. So I get a lot of territory checks in that area, and people go, "You don't have any area left." I go, "Where are you looking? Like, let's jump on a call. Let's take a look at the area and make sure we can find the right place." So it's those are the hot spots. And then Texas, Austin, Houston is just sold out recently, but if you go San Antonio is completely open as well.
So when you say sold out, tell me, how many do you guys have open and operating? Quite a few, right?
Yes. Yeah. So we just opened our 221st location about 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
So yeah, so we're opening roughly about 32 to 35 a year, roughly. So it's a little, what is that? just a little of one every 2.5, 3 weeks, I think, is that or something like that. And
That works out there.
yeah, and so we have another, I want to say close to 65 in development currently. And the last quarter alone, we added 16 new franchisees. So
Wow.
we've been active. We've been very, very active.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Thank you.
Awesome. Was there any, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot very quickly. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you think we need to?
So one thing I would mention for sure, and you know, every franchise has a support system, right? A support team, corporate support. I truly am amazed at how dedicated the exercise coach leadership team is to the franchisees. And I'm sure you guys hear this a lot, but I've worked for 4 different franchisors, the development, support side. Like I've seen both sides of the coin here. And what really impressed me about the exercise coach is their attention to detail. It's making sure that these franchisees truly do not feel alone in this process, especially anyone who is getting started with franchise ownership for the very first time. I cannot imagine better people to work with than Brad Bundy, Brian Seigan, Paul Broder. Like the leadership team here is remarkable. They one thing that actually impressed me was just the fact that Paul gives his personal cell phone number out to every single new franchisee coming in the system when they're getting ready to launch. I don't know too many people who do that right off the bat. He's like, hey, here's my email, here's my personal cell phone. Like, call me when you need anything at all. And he picks up every time. That to me is incredible. When I was on the support side, I can't say I was as comfortable giving out my personal cell phone number to every single franchisee, right? I felt like I was going to hear it sometimes. So that is something that is pretty awesome. And it's just, you know, again, every single member of the leadership team are franchisees themselves. So they're not just reading from a handbook. They are
Right.
telling from experience, they're coaching franchisees because they're facing the exact same challenges in their own business. So that's been
Love that.
pretty awesome.
That's not something you see very often. There are some other brands out there that are structured similarly, but I love whenever the support staff are actual franchise owners themselves, because they certainly see it, feel it, and can provide proper, you know, communication as to what should be going on.
Yeah. And whenever I tell people that, they go, well, wait a minute, you mean corporate locations? You're talking about corporate? I go, no, we have 0 corporate locations. They're all franchised. So yeah, we speak from the heart, right? Or we do what we preach, right? So I think that's important. One more thing I want to add too, and this is kind of becoming more public knowledge. Over the last 5 or 6 months, we've been beta testing an add-on service for the first time ever for the exercise coach. And we're really excited because I believe they announced it to all the franchisees before the end of the year. They voted on it. This was a unanimous vote, but we are going to be adding assisted stretch to the model here.
Oh,
Nice.
So we're very excited about that. We have more and more studios that joined the test group that have done really well. We're very bullish on it. We looked at the market. Obviously, you have other companies like Stretch Lab, Stretch Zone, and those, you know, dominating the space because it didn't really exist 5, 6 years ago. But now that people are wanting it and demanding it, exercise coach clients were the same way. They said, hey, it'd be really great if you had Stretch here. Like, I'm a member at Stretch Lab, but it'd be great if I didn't have to drive across town to. And so we heard enough of that to where we wanted to test it first, and it's gone really well. It doesn't require significantly more investment. We're talking a few tables at a few $100s each. It doesn't require additional labor. They don't have to be certified because it's assisted stretch. We're not corrective stretch or rehabilitation. So we're very careful about how we talk about it or how we designate the programming. But it's gone really, really well for us.
and so is that an additional fee for the end user or?
Correct. It's an add-on service. You can do it either as an add-on service, which packages the regular strength training membership with the stretching at a really good price, very competitive, or people can just do the stretch by itself, which we've seen a lot of. And that actually surprised us when we saw more people going into that than we were anticipating. But
I mean, they only have 20 minutes. They've got another 15 to stretch out.
right, exactly. No, and the on the business side of it, it increased our utilization. It's increased our retention. You asked about retention rate. I didn't even talk about that. I apologize, but the retention rate is also pretty remarkable for clients with the exercise coach. As long as I've been in the fitness industry, I was winning awards as a general manager and a regional manager when we had a 79, 80% retention rate month over month. So we're still losing 20% of our clients every single month. With the exercise coach, it's a 97% retention
Wow.
month over month across all locations. That
Incredible.
absolutely blew me away. That blew me away. So not something you see every single day, but again, it's a testament to really the culture that's created in our studios, and then the coaches being able to really deliver on the brand promise of increasing strength, increasing quality of life, and just taking that really personal approach.
Well, I made a video last week about why I love the exercise coach, but now I need to remake it. Anyway, well, this is awesome.
Yes, thank you so much for taking the time here today. We certainly appreciate it. And again, if you guys are interested and want to see if your market's available, you can click the link below, or you can also send me a text at 270-215-2844. So thanks, Chris. We will be talking to you soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure.
You too. I'll
Bye-bye.
talk to you soon.